You may have heard a lot of talk about side bend or early extension. In a way, I kind of see them as the same sort of category of movement through the ball, and these are my thoughts on those two elements. Now, side bend is the amount that you bend to the side through the ball, and you'll see some tour players where they get through the ball and they have lots and lots of side bend. Now, the thing with side bend is you have to have it. It has to exist in the golf swing, but sometimes I've had a few people come in for lessons and they've tried to exaggerate side bend because they've seen tour players do it, but I haven't seen it be beneficial for their golf. I haven't seen it be useful to their golf swing. If anything, I'm trying to take side bend away from most golfers because they're not fast enough to manage it or deal with it. Now, tour players that have a lot of side bend in the swing tend to get up to the top, come into the ball, get lots of side bend there, but they don't stay there. Now, the amateur golfer that tries side bend is they go, oh yeah, okay, I'll get loads of side bend, and they just spoon the ball out to the right. Because the side bend has to be a functional movement that gives you acceleration. Now, the acceleration from the side bend comes from this sort of move. Where that tour player that gets a lot of side bends, they get into here, but then because their abs are so strong and their core's very powerful, they get that side bend to accelerate out of it. So they get that club head to catch up because their body is physically equipped to get that acceleration from that position. And again, lots of amateur golfers that side bend into here, they get stuck there, the face gets left open and they don't give it a chance to shut down. But they're doing something that tour players do because they might think it's a good idea, but it's not for everyone. If you have side bend in the swing and you're going to use it to its full effect, we're going to get somewhere in here and we're going to accelerate through it. If you hit the ball really high and really left on occasion, side bend can be used to bring that flight down and right. But if you slice the ball already, then it's something that we really want to avoid. We want to get out of that position. We want to get rotating with the upper body, in my opinion. We want to get out of it. We want to accelerate from the top half. And those tour players that have a lot of side bend and not as much like rotation, they tend to miss a lot of cuts but win a few tour events. So they'll do really good when they're good, but when they're not so good, they just slip off a little bit too much and they struggle. So they can be quite streaky golfers. If you think of a golfer like Jimenez, he's not the longest golfer on tour, but he makes a lot of cuts and he gets through a lot of golf tournaments on long golf courses. He might not be good enough to keep up with the longest players on tour, but he moves in a different way and it makes him more consistent. In my opinion, again, the world of coaching can be very opinionated. Jimenez has a lot more rotational. He does lots of practice swings like a baseball swing. He moves the club round his body a lot more often. And when he hits the ball, he doesn't get stuck in here. He keeps his posture quite well and he gets round very easily. So then he's not having to manipulate his hands. He's not having to manipulate the club as much because he moves more efficiently, albeit not as powerfully. Early extension wise, it's where we get from the top of the swing coming down into the ball. It's where the golfer jumps up and extends their body. Similar sort of thing, we can leave the club face open when we're doing this move. If we extend early, we can struggle to shut the face down. You've got to use your hands to catch up and you don't stay in the shot as easily. So there's a move that I like to get people to do just to see if they can physically do it. And step one of that move is to put your left foot behind you for a right-handed golfer. I want to put that foot at 45 degrees and then I want to see if I can pull my body round. So if I do that again, I want to put my left foot there, 45 degrees. I'm going to go there and see if I can use my abs and my core to accelerate the upper body. Some golfers can do this and some can't, and that's absolutely fine. But if you can do it, then we can get out of early extension, we can get out of too much side bend much easier because we can use it as an accelerating tool for the golf swing. And if you think as you get through the ball, if you're too busy using this to accelerate through here, then you're not jumping. So while you're creating a different movement, you're trying to do something different instead of avoid the problem. And the second stage to that movement in terms of moving the foot back and spinning round is to jump with your legs there. If you're not the most athletic human being, probably avoid this one, just do the first one because we don't want to fall over and create any injuries. Make sure you got a clear ground around you. I want to jump my feet here 45 degrees to 90 degrees, whatever you can get, and then I want to bang, I want to make sure I can accelerate from there. And if you find that very easy, then it's going to be easier to create that motion in the golf swing because I do generally like lots of rotation from the upper body. I like that upper body to be able to accelerate through and get round to the finish. So then we have too much side bend in here and we'll get something like that. It feels very powerful. It got into the meat of the ball quite well. Spoons out to the right, not ideal. We have early extension where I'm going to jump really early because I've got that upward movement. I get a slightly better version of it, but I'm going to struggle to correct that face if I don't have good hands. And then an ultimate move that I like for all of these is for that feeling in the body. You might feel a bit silly doing it, but we are all friends. So if I really try and find that same feeling, then I get more of a draw, because as I side bend too much, I leave the face open. If I jump too much, I leave the face open. If I rotate that upper body, I shut the face down without it coming from my hands alone. And sometimes it's just easier to produce those movements from something that is coming from the bigger parts of the body. Then we get more meaty shots. If I know that ball's moving right to left more consistently, I can adapt my clubs. I can make the clubs flatter, I can make the shafts heavier and stiffer, and then still commit to the shot. But I don't know I need to do things like that until my swing is working more efficiently, more effectively, more frequently. But there we have my thoughts and views on side bend and early extension. How do we get away with it? Can you spin round? But I'll see you on the next video.